Hi, Michelle.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good.
How are you feeling?
Hungry.
Hungry? Okay, so I want to give you
Can I grab a little bit of like a... Can I grab?
Yeah, sure. A little bit of sugar.
A little bit of jaggery.
How is it?
That's gonna help me with getting a little bit of sugar in me.
Sugar.
Yes.
I think we should I wanted to bake you a cake because you asked for a cake for a while.
Indeed I have. You have kept me waiting for so long.
And actually, okay, so it's actually banana bread. And I think there's even symbolism in it and tied to...
Banana bread?
Yeah, tied to like our topic for the day. What's our topic for the day?
You tell me, kind sir.
It's something about like having or building like your own community, right?
No, that's not the topic.
What's the topic?
Shared knowledge and...
Resources around what? Around building like a community, right? As an artist. Or the importance of building a community as an artist.
Okay.
Right?
Hakuna msee atakusaidia ukijisaidia atakukazia isi mshuto mimi nasafisha hewa ongeza speaker.
The symbolism of what we're doing today in terms of making this banana bread is the essence of building a community, right? There's the phrase that people always say, let's break bread.
Yeah.
You know, like let's actually be able to sit at the table and eat together, right? And there's a symbolism in that in so many facets, really. So, what do you think like a community is?
I mean, a community is just a group of people, honestly, who connect in some way to each other. Yeah.
I hear you. Like, yeah, facts. And
Yeah.
with respect to, I think
So
that's like super open-ended.
Because that's really what it is. Like a community could be literally anything. We could be a community of videographers, we could be a community of creatives, we could be a community of tech gurus. So, but of course, in the context that we are talking of, it is in the creative community. Okay, so
Yeah.
community in the context of creativity, artistic pursuit, the love for art. Yeah.
Just in case you're wondering, I'm also like multitasking. Today we are gonna test also multitasking in men. But yeah, I'm squashing bananas as I was listening to you. But I hear you. It makes sense because basically that means, you know, it's a group of people who sort of have shared or common interests, right?
Exactly.
And so in this space, in the creative space or in the artistic space, then that would be, say for example, I'm a musician, right? I'm an audiovisual artist. So that would, for me, a community would then look like singers, songwriters, producers, engineers, and on the visual bit, videographers, painters, you know, set designers, stage designers, just anything that then would be able to tap into what my artistry looks like, right?
Yeah.
And of course, you can even go into the commerce aspect of your art. You can build a community of even people who, say, publish your content, or a community of where you'll exhibit your artworks, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. Makes sense.
So when you decided to kind of like chase your dreams and go after your musical dreams, and
Why are you saying
be an
musical dream? Chase your dreams. Why are you saying it like that?
Is there a problem if I say
No, I'm just asking.
I'm animated, and you know
Okay.
me, like I'm
Okay.
highly expressive. Do you have a problem with this?
No, I was just asking.
Well, it's because I am highly animated.
Okay.
Even right now, honestly, for those who know me, I'm
It's the
playing
sugar.
it low.
It's
It's not
the
the
sugar.
sugar. It hasn't really got into my blood yet. I'm waiting for that kick. I kind of feel like I should have more, you know? Because I need the kick to be able to shoot this video. Do you want me to do a good job? Do you guys want me to be able to communicate with you guys? I need sugar for my brain.
Okay.
But we just discussed the fact that I need sugar for my brain. Why are you going back on this?
No, I was going on with the conversation.
Alright, so I was saying,
But yeah, so
when you decided to chase your musical dreams, I remember you talking often about building a community and how you really want to build this community, etc., etc. Like, what was going through your mind at that time?
I think initially...
And why did you even want to build a community?
Initially, I misinterpreted what community was, or what it ought to be. Of course, one of the facets that I was thinking of is basically building people who consume my art. And I was thinking of it as a fan-based sort of thing. But over time, I actually realized it's much more than that. Of course, it's people who appreciate your art, they love your art.
Yeah.
But then also, like, one of the things I really discovered is people who you can actually be able to also collaborate with, people you can be able to sort of tap into their knowledge, people you can be able to tap into this now wider resource that is available to you to sort of expand your
creative pursuit.
Creative pursuit. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, one of the most recent collaborators that I appreciate. There's a cloth line, a fashion line. Currently focusing on t-shirts and coiffures that I sort of tapped into. That was started by, yes, it has a creative director, but then one of the other people, like there's a DJ stroke sound engineer, and there's an artist as well.
So it started by those guys all together.
So yeah, started by the three of them. So one of them is a designer, one of them is like audio engineer stroke DJ, and one of them is a musical artist. So they started a brand together, and it's called Lens Stapers. So
of course I know Lens Stapers. I've been wearing their t-shirts.
Yeah,
I should have actually worn a t-shirt for this. Should have worn the t-shirt for this episode.
Yeah,
next episode, guys, watch out.
For sure. But like, so they became part of my larger community. This is just an example. Of course, there's many more communities, but they became part of my immediate like community to tap into. And in truth, like, the engineer mixed and mastered like a recent release of mine, right? The t-shirt brand itself, you know, like, they've come through for shows that I'm doing, or even radio interviews. They're like, okay, cool, you're going for a radio interview. Here's a limited, you know, an exclusive t-shirt for you, so that you can go rock it and, you know, feel some type of way, you know, like they've come through to that extent.
I see.
You know, and it's already offering oh damn, okay, cool. So I'm already like tapping into their resources, you get, for my development. And there's a lot more sort of like communities outside that. Like, for example, I've also like created like a strong community with university lecturers. I know, right? But like, basically what that allows me to have...
Which university lecturers are these? Like, how? How did you even?
How did I even? I think it's just putting yourself out there. I remember earlier on in my company's like sort of career, I used to like tap into universities for interns. So I tapped into ADMI, that's a media institute. Yeah, multitasking. But we tapped into ADMI, that's you know, a media institute. We also tapped into what is it, Strathmore for now, like the other thing, like accounts and legal and such like facets. And most recently I also tapped into KCA. KCA offers like an amazing theater and media package as well.
I see.
So what I've been able to do with that is use those or leverage those networks in that community to sort of like make sure that whenever I'm, say for example, performing, or even whenever I'm commissioned to produce a performance, and make sure I actually come to the table with skilled labor. Of course, they could be in training, but it doesn't mean that they're...
It doesn't mean they don't have anything to give.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that they're not exceptional, you know? So it's all a matter of... And I guess that's why I'm really passionate about also talent development. But...
Which is really one of the reasons why we're
One of the reasons why we're actually doing this, yeah? So, Yeah,
So you're talking
that's a
about the
second network
communities
as
that
well.
you,
Yeah.
yes. So you
That's
have
a
the,
second
like
community.
you
That's
have like the lectures, the whole school kind of system.
yeah, system.
You have
yeah.
other creatives who, you know, kind of speak your language.
Speak my language as well. And like if I tap into the creative one, there's a huge pool for songwriters, that now just exclusively both instruments and actual lyrics that I also have a community of that I've used for multiple projects, not just my individual project, but like multiple projects as well.
I feel like there's a lot of artists or creatives. I mean, I'm just assuming, but there's a certain kind of creative who kind of sits in silence or in their own space, and they just create and they put out their content, but they're not necessarily intentional in creating a community.
Speaking of intentional, let me just look at a recipe real quick so that I'm intentional in baking this cake.
So you weren't intentional with knowing what you're
doing? No. It's taking action for the intentionality.
Yeah, I kind of feel like, and I feel like I'm sort of that way a bit when it comes to my career. I'm a content creator, and despite the fact that I see other content creators and love their jobs, I find myself kind of very preoccupied with my own creation of my art. And so in that space, I'm just doing my stuff, thinking up big ideas. I'll see what other people are doing and be like, oh my God, so cool, or leave a comment. But really, that's about it. I won't go further than that to be like, can we hang out? Can we do something together? When I met him, you were always constantly raving about collaborations. All the time. Every time we come up with an idea, he's like, let's collaborate with, let's partner with. And I remember I used to slap myself in the head. I'm like, because for me, collaborations and partnerships kind of felt like too much. It felt like I had to deal with other people, especially if other people are a little much or they don't do their end of the job as they said that they would. And I've always tried to escape collaborations and partnerships. I can't believe I'm saying this on camera. But for real, I'm like, oh my goodness, if I just sit down and edit this thing, it could be done. If I sit down and work on this thing, I could do it from start to finish without having to wait for somebody else to finish their part or etc. But I see that kind of mentality is kind of rooted in my own distrust of people. And so I kind of had to work through that a little bit. I had to, even doing this podcast together, it took us a while to decide to do it together. But I feel like you already kind of had it. You kind of hinted towards it a little bit sometimes. But I really wasn't ready because I was like, oh my goodness, we're partners. Yeah, what if we're putting ourselves out there? What if, something happens in our relationship, affects the podcast, affects the job? What if we don't actually see eye to eye? What if we want things that are different? Instead of thinking the other way, which is, we might want things that are different, but there's a way that we can incorporate that into this same space. We might, disagree in our relationship, but hey, maybe it's time to work that muscle, that discipline, that emotional intelligence and discipline muscle to not bring that into the podcast. So guys, I'm learning, as you can see, obviously, and that is why today on this episode I'm kind of looking up to you to just hear about your community experience.
I think it's really first of all I've seen I need a cup.
But
podcast. It's really
at your podcast, sorry, recipe.
But it's really not as complicated as a concept. I remember there's a video we did and I was talking about if you're not able to explain a concept to a 12-year-old, then, So, again, I'm going to try and explain it from as simple form as possible. Imagine you're a 12-year-old and you're walking from school to home. And it could be, let's give it a distance, let's give it a kilometer. It's just a kilometer. Right? So it's not that long a distance. But if you're walking alone, it feels very long, the bag feels heavy if you're carrying one book.
For me, the bag kind of felt like it felt shorter if I was by myself, if that makes sense. The distance felt shorter. The bag could have felt heavy, but I felt like I could deal with it faster.
You could deal with it. That's interesting because I guess also because there's the fact that you're an only child as well. Because I know for
My
I know
therapist.
For a fact, I know for a fact that okay, I grew up with a sibling, so I'm gonna use that.
You had to share things
I
already
had to
from
share
the get-go.
actually 2 siblings, so I had to share like a lot, you know.
Yeah.
So and one of those things was basically I remember walking to school with my brother, and it was maybe 2-3 kilometers, right? Early morning, if you're 2 kilometers.
To walk for 2-3 kilometers? I doubt
there's,
it.
Okay, there's days.
City boy.
There's days we walked. There's days we didn't.
Okay, sawa.
You know,
to save on the fare.
I don't know. I have no idea.
So you could
honestly.
eat some ice cream or something. You don't remember.
This one I can't remember that much detail. But if you think about it, maybe because it allowed me to have like
to buy something for yourself.
The walk back. But anyway, so I remember walking with my brother. It was okay, maybe 2 kilometers, right? Mm-hmm. And early in the morning, you're already groggy. You don't want to go to school. You know, like, let's just be honest. You're like, no. You know, that walk to school is not fun. But I remember we used to like do chase cars.
What are chase cars?
Chase cars is basically, it's like we're racing.
Okay.
So like we are really animated as possible. Imagine we're walking and you go and overtake somebody and you go and...
Oh, but it's just your hands. You don't actually have any toy car.
You don't have any toy car. It's just your hand. It's imagination.
Okay. What do you call it again? Chase cars.
Chase cars.
Okay.
So it was basically we're chasing each other in imaginary cars. So that 2 kilometers really felt
That's
bearable,
so nice. Yeah.
Right? And now with that same approach in the evening, walking back, now not just my brother, now I had my classmates as well. Mm-hmm. You get, so they took it, the bag didn't feel heavy because psychologically you're not thinking about the bag, you're not just in your mind. You know, so then you're able to actually walk in as much as you're carrying your baggage, even if you want, you're not you're still carrying it, but there's moral support to sort of like help you through it.
Yeah.
So if you come back now, if you fast forward now, imagine your art is your bag, right? So I'm not saying give somebody else your bag. In truth, maybe sometimes that will happen.
Maybe we carry the bag in tons.
You know, actually, okay, so you're carrying your art. You know, you're walking. Maybe your friend's dad is driving that day and meets you guys halfway. Because you're with your friend,
you get carried.
You get carried as well.
You get a lift.
You get a lift as well, you know. But if you're alone, your friend's dad will see you, but will just drive.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you? Say hi to
Say hi to mom. You know. But so it's the same thing. So like as in you'll find yourself in now fast forward, you find yourself because of that you find yourself in resources available to you that previously weren't available to you
just because you have a collaboration
that can make now your process even easier. Oh yeah, you have your content creator, right? If you pay for example a software, a Premiere Pro, if you're paying for it by yourself, it's expensive.
I do get that. Of course, I get it. But if you're sharing the cost of things or you're sharing projects, of course, like you can do a grander project if you are sharing the responsibilities within that project, the risks and everything. Yeah. Especially sharing risk is like a good thing because it makes it more bearable to even do risky activities or like ventures
or things that could scare you,
but risky within the creative space, guys. I'm not talking about like crazy risky stuff, I'm
sure I'm sure the guys are watching this.
What about the disappointment that comes sometimes. With that kind of collaboration within your community? I feel like there's the sense of there's community in the sense of a fan community for a musician.
This is meant to be 1 1/3 and 3/4. Sorry, but
what is meant to be 1 3/4?
Flour.
Oh, and so this is
flour.
Oh,
so I'm adding the flour to the banana.
Okay.
To the mashed bananas.
You know what you're doing, right?
Yes, I checked the recipe. I had disappointment.
So when we're talking about community building, community actually, just building a community in general. There's the kind of community that kind of champions you in your work. And then there's the kind of community you actually very actively collaborate with, right? So in this collaboration space, sometimes there's disappointments. You know, how do you handle these disappointments? Because for me, I think, I have banana on my t-shirt. But for me, sometimes, like, those disappointments, they sink a little too deep. And I find that the next time I want to collaborate with somebody, I'm like, no. So I don't know why I'm really touchy about that. Of course, it could be the fact that I'm an only child and didn't have to share a lot of things. But yeah, like, how
I mean,
doesn't
in
that
truth,
happen to
like,
you? Because
even
you have been partnering with people since time immemorial.
but even like with not lone child, I mean, sharing also sometimes is hard, and that's why maybe
Are we
even
not supposed to put the coconut first?
no, it's
Okay,
it's
it doesn't matter.
doesn't matter. It's all being mixed.
Okay.
But yeah, so sharing, even in the like sibling situation, it's not like
Yes, baby. Our son.
you want
Okay,
margin.
1 second.
A bake cake for Totokwe. Yeah.
Okay, doctor. Can you give us 15 minutes? Just 15 minutes. No problem. Wow.
We'll have him on another video.
Yes. Definitely not this video where there's a lot of sweet things on the table. Yeah. So you were telling me.
So yeah, like even in the sibling situation, it's not like you're naturally born to. Of course, there's a part of you that feels, no, this is mine. I mean, you see it with your son,
Of
right?
course.
So I think for me, it's yes, there's days for disappointment.
How do you deal with those? Because I know disappointments have to come, regardless of what kind of situation that you are in. I disappoint you sometimes, you know, you disappoint me sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's kind of easier to forgive like a lover, I don't know. But in the sense of like we're working on something and, you know.
I think if you have like a clear goal, like remember, let's use the bag analogy. The situation hasn't taken away your bag. And by your bag...
It has severely impacted my bag. Let's say the bag is the project, right? The creative project you guys are doing. And then, you know, one of the people you're collaborating with, like, messes it up in some way. I can't go into specifics, but messes it up in some way that significantly affects what you guys are doing. Perhaps the project never launches, or or launches very late, or something. It's just something. Like, how do you then... First of all, have you been disappointed by people you partnered with?
For sure. It happens. Like, I think at first I'd approached from exclusively emotion. And like, I was very touchy-feely. I've worked with I think because of Jamhuri, like I've worked with thousands of artists. Like, in the first gigs, lineups used to have over 40 artists. Like, one gig has over 4. So imagine you're just starting, you're like, okay, cool, I need to figure out stage, then artists come with, you know, some artists come with an emotion from wherever, maybe from their last writing session, you know.
Or something that happened to them that day.
Or something. Some don't show up, or some don't show up on time.
Very, very late.
You know.
Yeah, those are the kind of things I'm talking about, you know?
And yeah, honestly, at first I was emotional about it.
Yeah.
But then I figured, okay, cool. The next important thing is actually just get that thing done. Right? Once it's done, then let's have a post-production analysis. You know, because even if you use machines, even if you're using, okay, we're making bread, and it's machines that are...
Speaking of this bread, my guy.
It's just mixing. It's the conversation became a bit... can still love it. But
That's what you say a lot.
that's what I say a lot of times, and that's how you end up finishing it before I even taste it, right?
Let's see.
But even say, for example, we're making bread. We have a company for making bread, right? So of course the ingredients, there's a place where they're mixed, there's a place where they're sliced. Then at some point you start noticing the bread, the slices aren't coming as even or aren't as symmetrical or whatever. You're like, okay, cool. Let's make sure we get the bread. We have the bread. Now it's done. Let's do an analysis what the problem is, right? You're like, okay, cool. Let me either let me fix, if I can be able to fix the situation, or let me find an alternative
I get
way.
that, yeah.
And it just becomes, it's as simple as that. So now in this other context, you come back and have a conversation as emotionally intelligent as possible. Like, hey, what's up? Like, see where they're at.
See where they are at.
If it's not working out, and if they communicate and they feel like, okay, cool, maybe this is not
working, there's no need, then fine.
Then fine.
At least you tried.
Yeah, at least you tried. This continue. Remember, you still have your bag. Like, the thing is, they can't take away. And in this case, your bag is your gift.
I
see. Your purpose.
I thought the bag was like the creative pursuit, like the
No,
project or
no.
something.
All projects have like both positives and negatives. So
Yeah,
you
you're
just
right.
have to, and it's as simple. Even machines like steamer itapotea, or the generator will just not work, or whatever. Then you just have to now come back and analyze what that thing is. That is okay. The solution. Everything has a solution.
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool. Am I able to fix this solution? Yes. Am I able to fix this solution now? Yes. Fix it.
I get it. I do understand that, yeah.
And it just goes on like that, honestly.
Should we add the coconut?
I feel, actually, I just want to get us food here. I think because that is...
This video is not made by professional cake makers. Cake bakers. Because what we're doing here, guys, we do actually enjoy making cakes. We actually enjoy baking cakes. We do eat cakes, especially his cakes, very, very often. Whether or not they're the most perfect cakes in the world, we don't know. Whether or not we perfectly follow recipes, not really.
She's building a community that allows her to feed herself.
You know the funny thing, you've made cakes so many times. The fact that you have to read a recipe every single time.
No, do you know why
because
actually?
You always forget what the portions are like.
Yeah, and
every cake he makes tastes different, guys. It's always a surprise every time.
Bespoke, because it's art. It's like if you play a guitar today and tomorrow, you won't. It's like if you replicate it exactly the same, it won't be it. I'll give you an example. Like MJ, when MJ was in studio, Michael Jackson, whenever he was in studio with like musicians, like he'd always look for the first cut. The first moment that the guitarist is playing, or the first moment that the nini is playing, because there is where their spirit is.
Okay.
Like they are really, really there. Of course, they'll be able to play it the second time, but it won't be
So
the
you were
same.
trying to wiggle your way out of not making...
Mediocre cakes.
No, not making. What's the word I'm looking for? Like when something consistently tastes the same. Like when you go to KFC, the fries always taste the same. When you go to Java, or I don't know, when you go anywhere, like they try to maintain that consistency in taste and stuff. So you were giving us this huge excuse for why you do not have that with your cakes.
Let me tell you. Okay, so there's Toyota and there's Rolls-Royce. You'll never see a Rolls-Royce that is exactly the same as the other Rolls-Royce.
But they're not being made by the same company now, are they?
No. You're missing the point. You'll never see any two Rolls-Royce cars that are exactly the same.
I get that though, but we're talking about cakes.
Wait.
Being custom made it's a unique selling point for Rolls-Royce. So you can't use that.
No, so I'm using this as well. So I'm a custom baker.
Every single time your cakes taste different.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're getting distracted here, discussing cakes instead of discussing the whole community thing. But should we add?
Yeah.
Let me help.
You've really waited to add.
Because I feel like it's dry.
Okay.
Sorry. Oh wow, there's a lot more in there.
Yeah, let's wait first so that I can.
Oh.
I feel like I'm making ugali.
It does look like you're making ugali. Yeah. So guys, presenting to you the custom cake baker.
Who's making his cake like ugali?
Who's making his cake like ugali because hey, his life. So yeah, so I wonder what you guys think about the whole having a community thing and actually having a community intentionally. You know, because sometimes I feel like some people are friends, you know, I have friends, you know, you could say I have like 2 best friends and you say they're in your community, but are they? What does a community really mean and what do you want it to do for you? I feel like it's such an important thing to recognize why you would want a larger community or a community that functions in a certain way. In fact, these groups, like musicians groups, content creators groups, influencer groups, like these WhatsApp groups, broadcast channels, are just a whole other way of creating communities.
Yeah.
Because people recognize the significance of having communities. So I wonder if you guys have a community, you know, and what that means for you. How do you maintain this community? Why do you even have it in the first place? Does it work for you? What's your goal? Like, for instance, if you had a community right now, you do actually have community. Oh, wow. Okay, it's looking kind of nice, guys. I think you might be okay. Yeah, why do you have your community? Because you said it's no longer because of just having fans for your music or your art. What is the other reason?
Honestly, it allows me to actually achieve. I'll be honest, it allows me to achieve my artistic expression even better. Because, like, I realized, like, and I think I had this conversation with one other community member.
You should show them, actually. Yummy.
I don't think they can see. Can you guys? Oh, it's this one.
Yeah.
Like, from the videography community that I have. I remember, like, from my last show, so he asked me a couple of questions, and he's like, why are you pursuing art or music now when you have all the skill sets or how have those skill sets been able to help you?
Wait, ask that again.
So he was like, he knew me from producing content.
I see.
Right? And that's the community in which
He
that
knows you
relationship
from.
is forged, right?
Okay.
So when he's like, okay, you're doing your own music now, like, has your skill sets in the other facets helped you? And when I was responding to him, I was like, yeah, definitely it's helped me. But the one thing I've realized is I can't be able to do or actually do that skill set while I'm on stage. Because when I'm on stage, I'm focusing,
Yeah.
it's allowing me to, like, then I need to be able to trust another person to sort of, like, man the camera, another person to man the visuals or whatever, really, basically. And because of that, it's really shown me it's making the dream possible. The fact that now I know I have a community in the videography space.
It's a great feeling to know you can call somebody to
Exactly.
help you out, and they can call you to help them out.
Exactly. You know, and because we've had and because it's communities that are built over time, there's
trust.
There's trust, and there's also, in a way, like a symbiotic way that it functions. Because I know, like, most of the times guys are like, oh, and what if when the money comes in, oh, nini. But, like, we've sort of, like, built a strong cohesive relationship that we know, okay, cool, this is when we're doing our passion projects, this is how we operate, and when we're doing, like, commissioned work for other people, this is how we operate. So, say for example, I get a commissioned work for somebody, I consider their terms. I consider my community's terms as well in my negotiation. And when they are nini, they consider my terms as well, you know.
What does that mean?
So basically, you have documentary that you want to be shot because you're an amazing storyteller, right? And you're a story editor, and you're like, I know this guy can be able to execute this documentary. So you commission me to do your documentary, to sort of bring you the content and the editors, and you just story edit, right? So I tap into my community members. I'm like, hey, what's up, guys? There's this potential job, nini. This is what the term looks like, whatever. Are you able to work with, if, say, for example, you've offered me budget, like, okay, cool, and this is the working budget that I have. Are you able to work with this? Or the other route would be, what would be a comfortable rate for you to work with me on this, because I want to bring it to life with you. They tell me, I put my math together, I include myself, my payments, all those things, then I come back to you like, okay, cool. For me to actually be able to actualize this, there's this particular team that I want to work with that I feel fit perfectly in.
Actually, I feel like I definitely have that. I just haven't been looking at it as my community. We recently did a documentary that very soon is going to launch. Actually, if not next week, like it's so soon. We've finished
Congratulations on that.
Thank you so much. 7 months work.
Wow.
And I'm very, very happy to put that out there.
Well, just in case you're wondering, this is coconuts, desiccated coconuts.
Desiccated coconuts.
Yeah.
Where was I, Mr. Desiccated?
It's a short documentary.
Yes, so this documentary, I remember when I first got this opportunity, I thought to myself, okay, who am I going to work with on this documentary? And sometimes I don't shoot, right? I mean, I can shoot if it's necessary, but I would love to have somebody else film for me if I'm filming a documentary, so I can fully focus on the story. And of course, I tapped into one of the people who is in our community. His name is Rodman. He does such great videography work. You guys, you have to go check out Rodman. And he has done music videos for some of the biggest artists in Africa.
In Africa, true.
And so he's really good, and he's a great friend. Like, we actually connect on deep levels. And so I reached out to him and I was like, hey, we have to do this together. And he was very willing to do it. And it went so smoothly and seamlessly because this is somebody that I already know really well. Is a content creator as well. Understands. I just knew that he understands the language. I didn't have to micromanage him, And indeed, after we left, we came back home and we had filmed everything. I looked at the piece of work and I was like, you know what? This is good. I have no complaints because I knew that he would deliver a good job. So so having those kinds of people, you have a community in which you can tap to when you're in need of resources, when you're in need of anything, really is such a great asset for any creative. Yeah. I guess, oh wait.
That's it, yeah. So I just want to put it in a tin.
I feel like, can I say something? I feel like it's too thick. Do you know what happened the last time, the one that you let me bake? He made you kind of mixed half the ingredients and then left half for me. Flour. No. I added a little bit of water to make it. Like when you look at those recipe videos, the dough is always runny, it's runny.
I see. Okay.
Then the final cake comes out really nice and soft.
Okay.
I think we might be really pros at this whole cake making thing.
Pardon?
I think we might be pros at this cake making thing. Maybe we're not giving ourselves our flowers.
Yeah. Trust.
Trust. You are in my community, I am in yours. And we are trusting each other. Say what?
Custom cake. We're not a factory.
Let me bring it closer for you guys to see this dough. This is how it looks. So a little too thick for me if you ask. So let's make it a little runny and then bake it and then mamma mia, eat it. There you go.
Forgot some oil.
Forgot to put oil.
But I'm gonna put it in the tin so it just doesn't really stick
to the bottom. You're gonna grease the tin.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, one of the best things about having a community and a group of people basically that you trust and that you believe in and that understand your creativity is that you always have somebody when there's an emergency. I could for instance have a job that I have to do tomorrow, but then I wake up in the morning and I break my leg. God forbid. But if something like that happens, then I can just call up whoever, Rodman or whoever, and just be like, hey, please, do you mind
If
taking
you're
up this
free,
job for
yeah.
me? And then, of course, I'm going to do the same thing for you.
Yeah.
You know,
What's
and when you
happened?
have that's actually happened to me before. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Actually, there's a photography job that I had gotten, and then that morning of, I just couldn't do it. But luckily, we have this great friend, another guy in our community called Sompisha,
Yeah.
who's a great, phenomenal photographer and is incredibly disciplined and professional. Everybody that I introduced Sompisha to loves him,
Yeah.
and he showed up for me like pap. I literally called him. Didn't I call him at 5 a.m. in the morning on the day of the gig? And pap, he showed up.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of
Wow.
community, and that's actually, and Sompisha is actually a network or a community that I got from one of the like lecturer.
He was our intern.
Our first, like amongst our first interns.
Oh my goodness! And now he's
and
such
he's
a good
developed
friend.
into, yeah.
I love it. All right, let's see. Still quite thick, but let me help you. Okay, nyumbani.
I think I'll just take one more. Ooh, we forgot one thing. And our son really loves his chocolate chips.
Yes, choc chips. Put them inside. Wait. Let's. I want our viewers to be able to have a good view of this when the choc chips hit the mixture. Yes. They almost look like cookies. So what's making it this color is the jaggery.
Jaggery.
Oops. I swear to God, if it's not recording in this scene. Sorry guys, I always have anxiety when we're filming. Sometimes I feel like maybe, a camera stopped recording or the sound recorder stopped recording. So I'm always checking to make sure that that's happening.
I think we're good.
That's enough, yeah?
Okay, it's nicely running.
It's nicely run.
Yeah, the oven.
This is why you need a mixer.
I think,
If professional bakers, please
guys, thank you so
help us out.
thank you so much for watching.
We haven't even put into the bread tin.
Oh,
Amma, you don't believe that our viewers are worth looking at our cake hit?
can we do it as we
Grease.
are? Thank you so much for for watching the video.
Yes, definitely, guys.
These
Oh,
are really
wait.
tips.
It's
Oh, it's a
actually
tray.
loud. Oh, it's the train. Oh yeah, I can see it. Okay, so if somebody is really nosy, they can actually know exactly where we live from all of our videos. They'll be like, train.
Yeah, but the train literally goes all the way to Kisumu and to Mombasa.
Why are you making that face though?
No, like, yeah, we
you
live
don't
in
have to be
Kenya.
harsh in making your point.
We live in Kenya.
There we go. So thank you so much, guys, for watching this episode. We are grateful. We're gonna share an image of this cake.
Actually, I think we'll do our next video while eating it.
Oh, yum! Yes.
And basically, remember the topic today, or not the topic, but like what we've been talking about today is basically building a community that you can be able to break bread with. And
So we're gonna break bread.
So
As
we're
two
gonna
community
break-
members.
so cute.
It's gonna be so wonderful. So yeah, thank you so much, guys. We'd love to know what you guys think about community. Whether you just call them friends or you're very intentional with how you build
With
that
how you
community.
do, yeah.
Or even what you've seen other people do. I've seen a lot of influencers now, and pretty much everybody has a broadcast channel on Instagram, and I think that's just another way of creating
Building.
community.
Yep.
So yeah, guys.
Bye. Subscribe.
Bye.